right, this is the house that Michael built, or is building. These stones I collected over a period of 18 years. Living in an old wood house I built. And when I'd see the road crew putting in a water line and uprooting a bunch of stone, I would stop and pick up rock. And then down in the creek, I picked up a few on the side of the road where you see them jutting out somewhere. So that's why they're different colors, different shapes, different textures. That one's got holes all in it. I don't know what kind of rock that is. But most of it is limestone rock, and it comes from here in the hills of Tennessee. So I laid it kind of in a quilted pattern of sorts. And it's where I broke my ankle last year. I dropped one of those big old rocks on my ankle when I was wrecked. It was right there that I broke it. Put me out of work for a while. So we got some Bible questions. I'm Michael Pearl, and this is Jared behind the camera. And it's been kind of a rainy day here in Tennessee, but Jared's followed me up here and interrupting my work all day long. And but I'm tickled to be here to help you out by answering any Bible questions you've got. So, Jared, what's the first question?
Is the method of baptism important to God? If so, which method is correct?
Well, is it important to God? That question would need to be clarified. I'd need to know what you mean by important to God. God's will is important to God. It's important to God to do what God says. But when you say, is it important to God, do you mean, is God going to damn you if you get the wrong kind of baptism, or wrong words said, or the wrong person doing it, or the wrong church administering it? No. But is it important to God? If you're sprinkled or poured instead of immersed, does God care? Yeah, He cares. Because He's made it very clear in Scriptures that baptism is by immersion. Does that mean you won't go to heaven if you get sprinkled instead of immersed? No, it doesn't mean you won't go to heaven. It just means you're out of the will of God, and you may lose a reward for being stubborn and unbelieving and following what your church taught instead of what the Bible teaches. So, yeah, it's important to God. Jesus went down into the water. The Ethiopian eunuch, when Philip got caught away in the wilderness, and the eunuch said, here's water, what doth hinder me to be baptized? I think that's in about Acts 8 or 9 or somewhere. That said, here's water, what doth hinder me? They went down into the water, both of them. And when they came up out of the water. So if baptism were by sprinkling, they wouldn't even have had to stop the cart. Philip could just have taken the canteen and sprinkled the guy while they went down the road, or poured on him. But they needed water. It says that John baptized in Jordan because there was much water there. Well, now there's water all over Israel. If it was just a matter of sprinkling, you could go anywhere. But John needed much water because he needed enough to put them all the way under. And so the very word baptize is used secularly. They found a recipe that some woman had made on pickles. And it said, take the pickles and baptize them into the vinegar. So the word baptism has to do with complete identification, not some partial sprinkling. There's been no question about that down through the ages of people who are Bible believers. Now, you say, what if you got somebody in a hospital that's sick, about to die? You can't immerse them in water. Well, if that's totally impossible, maybe sprinkle some water on them, pour some water on them, maybe that'd be okay. It's not even essential that they be baptized to go to heaven. In other words, someone believes on Christ like the thief did, hanging on the cross. He didn't get a chance to be baptized, sprinkled, or poured. Didn't keep him being in paradise with Christ the same day. So baptism doesn't save, but God does have His will regarding it, and He's made it clear. So yeah, it's important to God that we do what He said, the way He said it. If your church differs, go to your church and tell them you want to be immersed instead of sprinkled. And if you did get sprinkled, it's time to get immersed. Go to some believers. You don't have to have a preacher do it. Go to any Christian man anywhere and say to him, I want you to take me down to the creek, river, pond, lake, swimming pool, and baptize me the way John the Baptist baptized, by immersion in water. And time you got really baptized.
If you would like to ask a Bible question, email us at biblequestions@nogreaterjoy.org or call at 931-805-4820.